They say the first time someone truly sees you, it changes everything. That morning, as I stepped out of the guest room in my white dress, I realized something terrifying. Everyone was seeing me, but not in the way I had hoped. They weren't seeing the girl who had spent years invisible, surviving on scraps of attention and whispered criticisms. They weren't seeing the quiet strength that had carried me this far. No, they were seeing my sister's fury, reflected in my reflection. "How dare you?" Vanessa's voice trailed behind me, sharp as shattered glass. "You actually wore it." I kept walking. My hands were steady, but my heart was hammering. I had to focus. I had to make it through this moment without letting her see me break. The wedding hall was buzzing now. Guests were mingling, unaware of the storm brewing behind the scenes. Flowers gleamed in sunlight, filtering through the large windows. Music floated softly across the air, but each note felt like a hammer striking against my chest. I found a quiet corner, hoping to compose myself, when I noticed something odd. Vanessa's closest friend, the one everyone assumed was harmless, was glaring at me from across the room, and in her hand, she clutched a small envelope, the same color as the note I had found in the guest room earlier. I didn't have time to react before a waiter brushed past, spilling a glass of champagne near my feet. I steadied myself, my dress barely brushing the carpet, and when I looked up, the envelope had disappeared. The air felt thick with tension. I realized, with a sinking feeling, that someone was deliberately watching me. Someone wanted me to fail today. Or worse, wanted a secret to be revealed at the perfect moment. The ceremony began. Guests took their seats. My sister's fiancé, Mark, smiled nervously, unaware of the silent war raging behind the flowers and candles. The music swelled, and I took my place at the edge of the hall, pretending to adjust the decor, keeping my head down. I couldn't help but notice the subtle glances Vanessa threw my way. Sharp, calculating. Every movement I made, every breath was scrutinized. It was as though she could smell my defiance, even though she couldn't fully comprehend it. And then it happened. A whisper, a soft, almost inaudible sound that made my stomach twist. Someone was calling my name. "Lily, come with me." It was the voice from the note. Calm, urgent, familiar. My pulse quickened. I looked around, but there was no one nearby. The guests were all seated. Vanessa was distracted by Mark adjusting his tie. I slipped quietly out of the hall, moving toward the side corridor that led to the garden. My hands clutched the folds of my dress. My heart screamed, "Don't do it!" But you have to. In the garden, the sun was soft against the newly bloomed roses, the scent intoxicating and almost blinding. I scanned the area and finally saw a figure standing near the fountain. It was a woman, elegant, older, with eyes that carried both sadness and knowledge. "You're the one?" she asked, voice trembling. I nodded. "Yes, but who are you?" She smiled faintly. "Someone who knows everything. Someone who knows what your sister tried to hide from you." A chill ran down my spine. She handed me another envelope, smaller than the first, with my name written in a careful, familiar script. "Open it," she whispered. I did. Inside were photographs. Old ones, hidden in my family albums, but never shown to me. Pictures of Vanessa, smiling innocently as a child, holding a diary, laughing. But there was also another figure in some of them. A boy, dark-haired, almost hidden in the background. And then, beneath the photos, a note. "Your sister has been keeping a secret, one that could destroy the family. If you find out before the wedding ends, be careful who you trust." I felt my hands grow clammy. My stomach churned. Questions raced through my mind. Who was the boy? What secret could Vanessa possibly be hiding that would matter so much today? And why was someone willing to warn me? Or was this a trap? I glanced back at the hall. Guests were still seated, unaware. Music continued to drift through the air, but the innocence of the wedding, the joy, the smiles, had vanished. The room, the hall, even the flowers now felt like part of a stage for something sinister. I knew I had to act. I moved closer to the fountain, tucking the envelope safely inside my clutch. That's when I noticed a man standing in the shadows. Mark's brother, someone I barely knew. He was watching me with an intensity that made my skin crawl. "You shouldn't be here," he said, stepping forward. "Why? Because I wore white?" I asked, trying to sound calm. "No," he said, lowering his voice. "Because if she finds out you know, everything changes." I froze. Everything changes. The weight of the words hit me like a punch. The whispers, the notes, the photos. They all meant something. And suddenly, it wasn't just Vanessa I had to worry about. It was the entire web of secrets surrounding this family, this wedding, this day. I turned away from him and headed back to the hall. But my path was blocked. Vanessa herself was standing there, her face pale, her eyes blazing. "Where have you been?" she demanded. "Getting some air," I said, my voice steady, despite the fear curling in my chest. She stepped closer, lowering her voice so only I could hear. "You think you're clever. You think wearing that dress means you're in control. But you have no idea." Her words made my blood run cold. "I'm not trying to be in control," I said quietly. "I just want to see the truth." She laughed, a sound that chilled me more than any scream ever could. "The truth," she echoed. "The truth will ruin everything, for all of us. You have no idea what's coming." And just like that, she turned and walked toward the altar, leaving me trembling. The ceremony continued. The vows were exchanged. Guests clapped, smiles all around, but I couldn't focus. Every glance at Vanessa felt like a warning. Every step I took, every laugh I heard, felt loaded with hidden meaning. Then, during the reception, it happened. I noticed a man slip a small envelope under the table near my seat. My hand shook as I picked it up. Inside was a single photograph. A clear, undeniable proof of something I had only begun to suspect. It was Vanessa, Mark, and the boy from the earlier photos, standing near an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town, and written on the back, in Vanessa's handwriting, "If Lily finds out, she must be stopped." My heart froze. What does this mean?" I whispered to no one in particular, and that's when I realized the day was no longer about a wedding. It was about survival. Someone wanted me out of the picture. Someone wanted to ensure that the truth stayed buried, and the twist that no one in that hall suspected. Not the guests, not the parents, not even Mark himself, was this. Vanessa's perfect day was a cover for something far darker, a secret she had spent years hiding, and I had just been invited to uncover it, to be continued. If you want to hear what happened next, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications.